How's it going, guys? What is up? Zach Ginn here and
Rick Ginn, aka Dad.
And in today's video, we are going to break down exactly how to win the wholesaling real estate game. So let's talk about it.
Awesome. So how to win in the wholesaling real estate game. And I know a lot of this is going to sound like really simple, but I'm giving you my 18 plus years experience. You're four. And what you'll do is you're going to find commonalities in it. So it doesn't matter if you haven't done a deal or like this is the first video you're watching about wholesaling, the same fundamentals are going to hold true. So number one, you have to get started. So many times you sit there and you read books, you watch too many videos, and you do kind of an analysis by paralysis, and you spend so much time in this land of theory. Well, how wholesaling works is you're better off learning as you go along. And you've been taught completely opposite in school. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to take tests, you're going to study, you're going to have a professor give you a lecture, school teacher, whatever it is, and then you're going to get a pass-fail grade. Well, in wholesaling and in business, you actually have to fail forward while you do that. And what do I mean by that? It means the more you fail, especially in the early times, the better wholesaler you're going to be. So you have to be okay making mistakes, learning as you go. You will never, ever learn everything before you start. I'm in 18 years. I learned some really cool stuff today. And Zach's just over 4 years. And the same thing is, so when you got started, what was the key to your wholesaling success? Like, what was the main thing I pushed on you?
Consistency.
Did we read like 900 books and watch 45 videos?
Nope.
Correct. So what I did to get Zach started is I gave him a specific marketing action plan, and it was putting out bandit signs, right? One of them we did. Mm-hmm. And we gave him a script in a phone call, and that was it. I think I gave him 20, 30 minutes of instruction when we did it. Here's the difference is he could have sat there and studied the scripts. He could have wrote the bandit sign 100 different ways. It didn't matter how you actually did it. But what he did is you didn't exactly know what you were doing at the time, correct?
No, but it's still different than today.
Right. So as he went forward, he got the phone calls. He muffed up a bunch of them. People were rude. They hung up on him. He built his confidence, and that's how he started winning at the wholesale game. And by the time we got to the first contract when we did the deal, there's something that happens in wholesaling. When you get your first deal, you get it locked under, and then you actually make a profit of it. It's like a light bulb goes off in your head. I've watched it thousands of times. I've witnessed it. He has. And the goal of this video today is to show you actually how to be successful at wholesaling. And what it is you have to fail forward fast. You actually have to start. And this is probably the biggest screw up I see people do. They spend so much time studying, and this is what my teachers taught me. And that's the biggest mistake you can make. You're going to make mistakes. That's how you actually learn in life. In school, you're taught the other way. You want to get perfect A's, and then you go out in life, and it's challenging, and you're not going to get perfect A's. Wholesaling, you're going to start with some D's and F's at first, because that's how I did it. But I stumbled along the way. I made my first $10,000. I had no idea what I was doing. I told Zach, hey, just go out and do marketing. So many of you right now are like, okay, well, what do I do when I get under contract? Or how do I talk to people? Use this channel to go and look at the videos. Between me and Zach, how many videos are on there?
It's over 400.
Over 400. And I think we're the only people out there offering wholesaling education for free, but it's not really education. It's actual business plan, how to succeed in the real estate game. Guys, we're in a new age today. The days of gurus selling you $5,000 and $10,000 courses, I've taken every one of them. And some of them are good, but there's too much information out there. I love wholesaling because it got me started in real estate investing. I still do wholesaling as a big percentage of my business today. And I believe it's the fastest way to acquire wealth in today's business world, especially in the United States. Do you agree?
It's the fastest way to become a millionaire in under 2 years. Anywhere in the United States.
So
hands down.
It doesn't care what your education level is. It doesn't care what degree or what you got in school. I'm not telling you not to go to school or anything, but I'm just telling you the reality of wholesaling is it's a business. And It's non-discriminatory. It does not care what your education level. I would say, what's that
thing though?
What's that?
The amount of effort you put into it.
Correct. So
What's the one thing you have to
which leads me to the next thing is you have to start and you have to take action. So if you want to have a simple marketing plan, and so if you're just getting started out and your goal is to put out 100 bandit signs, how many are you putting out tonight? How many are you going to put out in the morning? And when they call, are you going to do your best to connect and build rapport with them? We have enough videos here to teach you how to talk to anybody, okay? Life is nothing more than a sales game. Your kids sell you, your spouse sells you, your parents sell you, everybody sells you. And I think we pretty much determined age is regardless in this business.
Yep.
Okay, so Zach jumped in, got into it at around 17, was looking at it at 16.
There's wholesalers doing it at 16 too. Or there's wholesalers who are starting out at 65 and still doing it.
I started at 33, 34. So I waited later, but I was fine doing it. It doesn't matter. I've seen people start in their 70s and do fine. And it doesn't matter because it's an amazing business and it will give you freedoms that you could never even imagine. So you got to take action. And I will tell you, here's the other part people miss. When you take this action, it feels like you're putting on like super tights. What I'm saying is it feels like really uncomfortable. And the minute it feels uncomfortable, you're in the right place. And we're taught in society, anything that feels uncomfortable, just get rid of it. And now, I'm not telling you if you touch a hot plate burner, take your hand off of it. That's not uncomfortable. That's painful and stupid. So it's going to be uncomfortable. It's awkward to talk to people that you've never talked to and you have no experience doing it. But if you talk to 3 people today, you talk to 5 people tomorrow, you talk to 30 people next week, each conversation is like you going to school and learning. And by the way, sellers will tell you when you're screwing up, and you can be a human and talk to them. They're actually normal people just like you and me. So, guys, you have to just jump in and you have to start. I sat there. I remember the first few months I looked at it. I strategically tried to okay, I'm just going to put my foot in the water. I'm going to see how it works. And don't make the mistake. I'm not telling you to go out and quit your job and stop doing everything you do, but you can come up with a simple marketing plan. If you want to do bandit signs, you want to do cold calling, you want to do a simple direct mail, you want to do an SMS campaign, RVM, whatever, just make sure it's legal wherever you're doing it and just do it. Because I promise you this, if you do not go out and take affirmative action, we don't use the word try. Try is a futile attempt to try something. And if it doesn't feel good, let's just stop. You have to be able to make that actionable steps. One of my favorite questions I get on here is they say, Rick, how many phone calls before you think I get a deal? I go, listen, I'm going to ask you a very direct question after this. How many phone calls are you willing to endure to get a deal? And if you tell me 100, I'm just going to tell you to stop because you're never going to make it because you're going to stop once you hit 100. What if I told you you had to make 5,000 phone calls? You okay with that? And your answer should goes like, I'll make 25,000 phone calls. And if that doesn't work, I'll make 30,000 calls next month. And that's the attitude you have to take because I've seen people get a deal in an hour in this business. I've seen people take a year. And the only difference in most of the people, different markets, different times, is the amount of action they took and they actually got started and they never waited for the perfect scenario. Guys, I told Zach, I have a large library of real estate books.
That's from the house.
Yeah, so this was from a house we bought. 1972. It's titled How Real Estate Fortunes Are Made. And it's a really cool book because you know what they're talking about? They're talking about how expensive real estate is in 1972.
Show them the receipt.
Yeah. Oh, and back then they paid $9.95. That was in 1977. You'll probably pick it up for free today. Probably shouldn't be putting their name on there, but it's an old. Is that Oregon?
Yeah, it's in Oregon. Yeah. Yeah, you're fine.
But anyways, if you ever have a chance to go to a garage sale, pick up like old books like this, it will teach you a valuable lesson. You know what the difference is why people massively succeeded in the wholesaling game? It's because they started and they took action. And this book talks about it. Like, we all think we've reinvented the wheel. I got to tell you, this stuff's been going on forever, guys. It's just more in a digital format, and we have the ability right here online to connect with you. And it's really cool because you get videos, you get training, you get everything. Guys, there is no reason you cannot be successful and win at this game. Are you going to have issues that come up? Absolutely. The question is, are you willing to go through, fight through it, and be successful? And you know, the first few deals you do are harrowing. They always are. I know the first deal I did, like, here's the truth. I was shaking. I was so violently nervous. But my why was to get into wholesaling so I could have more freedom to spend with my family, my time. And when I started, how old were you? He was like 3 or 4. So just to kind of give you an idea, 3 and 21 now. So time goes by quickly. Oh, yeah. But if you don't get started, you don't take the action, and you don't survive the uncomfortable feeling, you won't succeed in this business. Just the truth. So I will tell you this: if you start, you take action, and you're willing to be uncomfortable, there's no limit in what you can do. And that's the big secret in being successful in wholesaling. It's not about how you do comps. How do I do repairs? No, it's not it. It's just getting started. Take action. Be willing to feel uncomfortable. Remember, there's a difference between uncomfortable and painful. Yeah. Uncomfortable just means it feels awkward. I haven't done this before. So an example, most of us are right-handed. If you picked up a ball or whatever it is, let's say you're playing fetch with your dog and you threw it with your left hand, I promise you it would feel massively uncomfortable. But you know what? If you did it day after day, month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year, and probably 6 months, you would be extremely fluid in doing it. So there's no difference in wholesaling and real estate. The difference is some people start, they hit a roadblock, they feel uncomfortable, and usually the reality is you let a family member talk you out of it. Your friends are doing this. They're like, why are you working so hard on the weekends and nights? And if you're not willing to get through that, that's where I find most people get caught up in it. So this is real work. It's very rewarding. It's a lot of fun. But I will tell you in the beginning, man, it's like I questioned a lot when I did it. And I just kept my faith and I kept going. I had my entire family, including my parents, my brothers, my siblings, everyone, they thought I was absolutely nuts for what I was doing. Now, I didn't quit my job when I did it. I had a family I was responsible. Remember, I started at 33. He started at 17. I know there's probably somebody here. I'd like to find the youngest age and the oldest age. And it's always the same. The people who are willing to take action, be uncomfortable, and get started.
Shut up. We have a guest subscriber. He DM'd me. His name's Morris. He's 62, just started wholesaling a couple weeks ago. Subscriber awesome. Always comments on everything. So shout out to you, Morris.
What's up,
Appreciate
Morris?
You watch our stuff. So I know he's watching today. So he started 62. I'm ready to pump it up. So let's get it going. So let's get some comments going. See what that guys can help you guys out win the wholesaling real estate game. So let's get it going. This is pretty exciting. I got there's one comment here I'm not showing you. You're going to, oh my gosh, you're going to go crazy for it. So
okay.
Bryson says, let's go. What's up, Wu-Tang? Dynamic duo. I love it. I love it. Love these guys. Chelsea's new to the channel. Really appreciate the info. I'd love to hear about your experience and thoughts on wholesaling creative finance deals other than cash offers, such as seller financing, how to build in wholesale profit. What's your opinion on wholesaling creative financing?
I love it. So I didn't start out doing creative financing. Once I mastered wholesaling, I was probably the first deal. Actually, I had no idea what a creative financing deal looked at probably for the first year or two. I was so laser focused on wholesaling. But here's the really cool part. When you wholesale, it is a marketing channel. Now, when you wholesale, you're going to find all sorts of deals. You're going to find deals that are upside down. You're going to find deals where people own outright, but they want a higher price. So once a deal does not qualify for wholesaling, then I look at it, okay, what can we do creative financing wise? I don't like to do creative financing for stuff that's completely upside down and doesn't make sense. So when we have a creative financing situation, meaning the property is completely paid for, I just look for cash flow opportunity. And I think the creative financing world, a lot of people complicate it.
Yeah.
So if you just look at creative financing from a cash flow perspective, so the problem with wholesaling is, price, right? Buy low, sell medium. We don't sell high, we sell medium. So when we do creative financing, say a house is trading for $200,000 retail and the guy wants, I don't know, 190. I mean, there's not enough of a spread. You make it, say he owns it outright. My biggest question to them is, here's how I did it. I'll give you guys a key. Are you open to a creative solution? Once I know the wholesaling door's closed, I take off my wholesaling hat. I sit back in the creative financing position. And it's just a simple question. Are you open to a creative solution? And you're going to get one or two answers. You're like, absolutely not. It's crazy. It's cash only and I'm done. Or tell me more about it. Well, I would love to explain it to you. And then all I'm trying to do is figure out how much he needs up front. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to look at how much I can cash flow the property for. Now, the key with creative financing, in my opinion, is to put down the least amount of money you can and keeping the deal alive. So here's, Rick, how's that work? So say I just decided to give him $5,000 and the house is in good shape. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm immediately going to turn around and do owner financing or rental, like however you want to do it. And so if I know I can get 15 to 20 grand down now, I'm going to get my wholesale fee up front, 10 to 15 grand. And then I'm going to structure the deal where if it rents for $2,000 a month and he's okay with a $1,300 a month payment, that roughly gives me a $700 cash flow. I know it gives me a buffer. And then I'm going to add a little bit in on the price for a bonus. So I focus on more of what I can collect up front to cover my costs. I never advise of if I give that guy $20,000 or $30,000 and I'm only going to collect 10 or 15, I'm in the hole. And I never, ever operate from that position. So simple creative financing, positive cash flow up front, positive cash flow every month. And then even if you get a reward at the end, it's a huge win-win situation. So you take your wholesale deals that just don't qualify them, ask an open-ended question, and then you go through it. And here's the really cool part. I had no idea how to do creative financing, but the good news is between our videos here at Flip with Rick, we teach specific actions on how to put creative financing together, and it works. And it's weird. You get more creative financing in a down market. I'll tell you that right now. In a super hot market, it's a little bit more challenging, but they're still doable.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the wholesaling creative finance deal specific, like wholesaling a subject to, obviously we just take down the subject twos because the ROI is insane on them. But if I want to wholesale a subject to deal, it's going to be a lot less than our average assignment. Like our average assignment's what, 30, 40,000. Yeah. And how much can you wholesale subject to for in Port St. Lucie?
Like half or a quarter of that.
I mean, like 5 to 10 grand at most.
That's the problem. So why not just make the money up front? Here's the really cool part. If you're giving, a lot of people go, well, Rick, I got to give him 5 grand. It's not your 5 grand. You go get it from your end buyer.
Yep.
So in reality, you don't need to give that property away and wholesale it, or find a landlord that wants to put that deal together and work with them.
Or wholesaling a lease option. Yeah. You should not wholesale that. Keep it.
Yeah, there's a million ways to do it. I'm just saying, once it doesn't qualify for wholesaling, if you can get an open-ended conversation and they're open to it, one of the keys to a creative financing deal is a lot of sellers get stuck on a price. So when you can give them their price, like, hey, Mr. Seller, if I could give you that $200,000, are you open to a creative solution? And just watch the reaction. If the face drops and they get all upset, like, don't beat it up. If they go, yeah, I would love to hear more about it, Rick. And then we just sit down and have a conversation. I just take a pen and a pad and go, well, how much could I put down? Like, guy goes 20, if he says a crazy number, go, I can't do that. And then you just kind of work it backwards on that, but you should know your numbers when you go into that deal. So I do find it challenging when people try to go wholesale right to creative financing. So sometimes you circle the wagons back. Maybe you talk to them a little bit, you get more information about the house. And then as you're walking out to your car, you go, I just thought of something crazy. I don't know if you'd be interested in it. And I like to do the takeaway, like, you know what, this is probably not for you.
Yeah.
And just go, no, tell me. And so if you can get them kind of coming to you, I will tell you this, here's rule number one on creative financing. Never force the deal. You cannot make someone take a creative financing deal. Either it works or it doesn't. It's not like wholesaling. It's a little bit different because you need their cooperation the whole time. So,
great question though. Thanks, Chelsea. Sammy says, love the dad son knowledge transfer. You guys are awesome. Thank you. You all the best. Nice new hair, Zach. Appreciate it.
What do you say?
Says he likes the hair.
Oh, okay.
Love the course for probate. Remember, guys, the probate is being sold by other people, so be careful with that. But just be careful because we're not really doing support on that or anything, because we don't really get paid on it anymore. Old licensing deal.
Old products.
You guys are so inspiring. I'm going to take massive action. Do it. All right. Here's your question. You're going to love this. Read this one and answer this for me.
Okay. Kramer asked, the problem I'm running into is that I'm finding fire damaged properties where the owner died and it's in a will, I assume, right?
No, died in it as well.
Oh, died in it as well.
So they fire damaged property and the owner died also. And now there's just a fire damaged property just sitting there.
That's crazy.
Aren't you foaming at the mouth of that opportunity?
No, there's tons of opportunity there. So
talk about it. How can we help Amber out?
So Amber, the first thing I would do is, obviously, I'm sure you pull the property records. If you have the ability to do a skip trace, that's nothing more than a fancy way of saying try to find the most relative information, phone numbers, relatives, address, or anything. I will tell you, in this opinion, on that exact circumstance, I would do that as well, but I would probably just knock on the neighbor's door. They're going to know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a house burned down next to you? I promise you know every detail between the cops and the fire department. So I might just skip tracing and go right to the neighbors. I think it's going to be your fastest line of defense. What you're trying to do is find out someone, a next of kin in the family, and that's most likely going to wind up. So the house will wind up going through probate, and they're going to usually appoint a PR, a personal representative, and that person's probably going to be very active around the house, the police reports, everything, and doing that. So basically, you have a probate and you have a fire damage property. To me, you have huge motivation, but you have to kind of walk kindly, especially if it just freshly happened. So I'm not as good with fire damage properties. A lot of people specialize in it.
Yeah.
But the probate, so it'll go through probate. So I would find out who the PR on that. And I think the neighbors is the best route, and you can back it up with a simple skip trace. Remember, you don't always have to pay for skip trace, especially for one.
Yeah. TruePeopleSearch.com. TruePeopleSearch.com.
So
love it.
Great.
Great one. So I got to run.
Okay.
But we're gonna have Rick here, just Rick answering questions. So
all
it's
right.
gonna be a fun one.
So you guys can ask the questions you've been holding back on.
Yeah, let's go, guys.
Okay.
I see a bunch of questions here that Rick will get to. We left off. Let me see. Right here, 88 had a great one.
Okay.
Love the channel, guys. Swear to God, you guys are the best channel on wholesaling. Everyone wants to sell a course. Really appreciate you guys more than you can imagine. 80, we appreciate you.
Yes.
All right. I'll see you later.
I'll see you in a minute. Okay, guys, I am here for the next 35, 40 minutes, and I will answer as many questions as you guys put in there. So, awesome.
And just, you know how to end it when you're done, right?
Yeah, I know. I got it. Okay, hey, Rick and Zach, I confirm that this is a lot of work, but for the business is extraordinarily rewarding. So the really cool thing about wholesaling is, and really it's going to go for any business you do for yourself, you're going to go through these ups and downs. So if I worked for the same company for 11 years and I got a paycheck every 2 weeks, I got commissions, and I got to tell you, man, it took about 6 months for me to adjust on that. But like when I get paid, it covers 10, 12 months of any other commissions I would have done in a corporate job. But good to hear there. Guy says, what's up, guys? Awesome. Appreciate the jewels. Okay, here's a good question. Fluffy Luck. How do you know when you guys are skip tracing that you are not skip tracing the same property multiple times? So it depends on the volume of skip tracing you're doing. You do have to manage your lists. Ours get big, but to be honest with you, it's simply on an Excel spreadsheet, and you can click the little duplicate button. It's really simple. And if you don't know how to do it, just go in the search bar and type remove duplicate, and it'll highlight them and pull it out. The last thing you want to do is pay twice for that service. So you just have to organize your sheets. Yes, there are companies where you can organize it within software, but they get expensive. So unless you're doing a very large volume, 20, 30,000 per month, in my opinion, it's easier to manage in an Excel spreadsheet. So use that option with that. So, okay, what's up, Justin? Quick question. I have a deal in Houston. I live 4 hours a day, and I have a title company in Houston. So that's Texas. I have a deal in Houston, and I live 4 hours away. So it doesn't matter where you live. In the ideal world, you would already have that relationship set up with the title company. But so I assume, Justin, you're going to try to wholesale this deal. So when you're wholesaling it, you try to figure out the title company so they don't ruin your transaction. So you guys understand, most title companies cater to realtors and traditional real estate. We're doing less than, wholesaling is like less than 3% of all real estate activity, and it's probably even lower now. So if you were buying it cash and reselling it, it probably wouldn't matter which title company you use. But when you guys use the assignment of contracts, make sure your title company understands what you're doing, your process. And if you don't like them, just go on to the next one. So I would call title companies and quickly say, hey, do you deal with assignment of contracts? Do you work with investors? Don't use the word wholesalers because it freaks most title companies out. So yeah, give them a call. But if they don't work out, just have another one going on, and then look inside this group, any other groups of someone who recommends a investor-friendly title company. Investor-friendly for you guys means they understand what we do. It doesn't mean they're on your side. It just means they understand what you do. So, okay. I asked, would you recommend wholesaling land or houses for a beginner as a teen? Also, is this process different? Actually, it's not. So if you look at land, you just take the house off of it. The only challenge with land is trying to understand what the values are. And remember, the buyers are typically going to be small builders or people who like collecting lots. So sometimes the spreads are a little bit lighter. The good thing about land is it usually goes much faster. People make fast decisions because you really don't have to go look at the property. So it's whichever one you're more comfortable with. People feel like you can make bigger spreads on physical properties, on real estate. I do a combination of both. I started out doing single family homes, and then every now and then you get a lot who process it. But guys, just so you know, there's wholesalers that make a complete living off land alone. And one of the biggest craze going on right now is people actually buy larger parcels of land, and then they go through the process of divvying them out and they sell them. So it's like you buying a giant pack of toilet paper, is a terrible analogy, from Costco, and then you go and sell them off one by one. So my answer to you tonight is whatever you're comfortable with. Land's very fast and it's inexpensive to do. That's the advantage. The problem is sometimes the profits aren't nearly as much as single family, but I've seen people flip lands for 6 figures. So when land comes across my desk or lots associated with it, I usually separate it from that property and sell it retail on its own. So hopefully that helps you out. So awesome. Keep the questions coming. So Fluffy, I agree. I don't want you paying twice for skip trace. So use an Excel spreadsheet and keep checking your files. Like you should keep like a master one. And on the bottom, you can have the workbooks. And every time you run a list, you can cross-reference it. Worst case scenario, if you're struggling with it and you're not I'm not a huge Excel guy, but I know just enough to be dangerous with it. You could pay someone on like $5 or $10 to help you sort out that information. And sometimes it's well spent money because they're very efficient at it. And if you don't like doing it, and if they save you a couple $100 and you spend 10 or 20 bucks, it's well worth it. So. Raheem asked, what diaper do you guys use for real estate? I don't know. I guess I like Johnson & Johnson. It's my favorite. Oh, Okay, I get it. Dialer. So what dialer I use? So we've actually used just about every one there is. We used Mojo for a long time, and Mojo was actually created for real estate agents. It was never really created for like real estate investors. I'll tell you right now, there are so many out there. I wouldn't even give a recommendation because there's so many advanced services. You just got to make sure cold calling is going to work for you, and you've calculated the cost, time, and energy it takes to do. A lot of people think cold calling is fast, easy, and cheap. It's not. You have to be really good at it because you got to have X amount of calls a day. You got to do a lot of skip tracing. And so Mojo, we used to use a 3-line dialer. I've heard they have dialers up to 10 now. I don't know how logistically that would work, but I would just start with like the cheapest services that'll accomplish what you want. You remember those dialers, they're like hanging up on people and they're rotating it. So it's kind of a rude service, but I get it. There's so many out there, Raheem. I would just kind of look at them all and see who someone give you a free trial version. I think Mojo's kind of getting outdated in my opinion, but who knows? Awesome. Luca Mills. Okay, I'm a teenager, 15. Awesome. I was going to get into wholesaling land. Any tips? Which one would you consider to be easier, wholesaling, homes, or land? So I just answered this question. It's up to you. The advantages of land is it doesn't really require a lot of money. So I have areas where I bought land for $2,000. And when I say I bought it, I didn't even use my money. I just went and got my in buyer's money. And most people are going to wait till the closing to fund the $2,000. So a lot of them, I didn't even do a deposit with them. So the good news, Lucan, is you're 15, you're way ahead of the curve. So I've been programming my kids since the day they were born. They just didn't know it. And I taught them that they got to make their own way in life. So no matter what you do, Lucan, like you can even if you just do wholesaling to create wealth, and say you want to be a pilot or something like that, you should still do it because when you get really good at wholesaling, I literally work 2 hours, maybe 3 hours a day, but they're very focused hours. It doesn't mean I don't do other things. I do, but I'm just telling you, 15, man, you got like the world at your sleeve. You're going to jumpstart Zach, which he didn't get in 17. And by the way, I never pushed it on my son though. The fact that you're watching this video and doing it, I mean, amazing. So just keep learning as much as you can. Here's what happens is, I don't care if it's land or a house. If the opportunity is there to help somebody and make a lot of money, do it. Who cares? Some of my best deals, by the way, I know I love doing all the marketing stuff, has come from friends, family. One of my biggest deals I ever got was from one of my mom's friends. And it was just a conversation. I believe it was like at an Easter brunch. And somebody passed away. She's like, I don't want this property. You know what I said? I go, I'll take it. It's just like, you don't want it either. I'm like, I want it. And here's the best part. It was a 55 older in community. Everyone's like, you don't want it. I'm like, I'll take it. So I wound up buying it for, I think, $42,000. There was $40,000 in the mortgage. There was $2,000 above it. I should have done a creative financing deal and taken it over. But I sold it for $98,000 a month later. I didn't do one thing to it. So what I'm telling you guys is the more time you have on this earth, the more chance you have for opportunities. And as I say, if you pick up one of these old books, especially you, Lucan, they're all complaining about how expensive real estate is in 1972. So we're in 2021, and guess what? Everyone's complaining about how expensive it is. You guys notice the trend here? Those who get started, my God, if you get started at 15, you are so far ahead of the curve, it's ridiculous. So watch the videos, do what you think is comfortable, come on these lives, ask as many questions as possible because, Lucan, you're smart. You're going out and getting a free education, what everybody else is paying $10,000 for. I've done this for 18 years. I've taught a lot of people. I'm telling you, I'm not holding back. You guys know I taught Zach 17. In 90 days, he did 100K. There's no reason you can't do it. You're on the right path. Emery says, I found 2 within the month of May. So I assume you're talking about deals. That is awesome. Guys, this is how you get successful in real estate. It's okay to read. It's okay to study. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. So if you're going to school or you're going to work and you're supporting a family, that's 8, let's just say 9, 10 hours. You're going to sleep for probably 6 to 8. So that's 18. That leaves you 6 hours to work on your business. I already told you I can get mine done in 2. I've been doing it a while, but I tell you, I spent endless nights, weekends while all my friends were out partying and doing stuff. And I did that when I was earlier. And I just decided I was going to make a change. I was tired of working for corporate America. It was a good decision because all my coworkers wound up getting laid off. They all got retired early. And I thought that company was going to take care of me. So don't depend on anybody else other than yourself. So Amber says 2021. That is awesome. So just keep doing it. And guys, we can share our successes here. This is the awesome part about it. I don't have a hidden agenda for you. I know a lot of people are getting pissed because me and Zach are doing this for free. And you know what? I know we're on to something, because why charge for this? I don't understand. It's all available right here. Wholesaling is a starting technique to get you in real estate investing. Guys, I've done this 18 years. I learn something every day. I do commercial deals. I do apartment buildings. I love it all. But I will tell you, if I didn't get into wholesaling, I would have never had the opportunities to do that, to buy my dream house, to live on the water, to do whatever I want. I'm able to do all that stuff. And you know what my favorite part is? I get to work with my son right here with me. And at 17, and by the way, he's much smarter than I am. And you guys will probably tell him that anyways. But he understood by taking massive action and getting started early in real estate, it was great. I didn't start till I was 33. Lucas started at 15. Zach started 17. It doesn't matter. Here's the key, guys. Just get started. Okay, let me get caught up here. I'm getting behind here. So, okay. So Alexander asks, what market you guys in? We're basically in all of South Florida. I'm pretty much the king of Port St. Lucie. I do more deals here than anyone. If anybody wants to put their HUDs up against me, I'm more than welcome to share them with you. But see, the difference is I do this business full time. I don't have a coaching business. So many wholesalers think that they can shift from being a wholesaler to just a coaching business. You know why? Because they're probably struggling being a wholesaler. So I kind of get to do the best of both worlds without selling stuff. So the biggest question, me and Zach, is why do you guys do this? I go, A, no one's done it before, so I know I'm on the right path. And number 2 is if I can help as many people make their first 100K in wholesaling and show everybody the path, and you guys help me get more subscribers, more users, that in itself will create a community that will trump anything else that's out there. So I've been doing this since 2003. Zach's 4 years into it. It doesn't matter. So I learned by teaching my son, which I think teaching your own family is one of the hardest traits to do, that you can do amazing things. How do you support the channel? Subscribe, share. If you haven't had a chance, do it. If you think somebody benefit from it, you guys are getting a mastermind for free. You know, the average mastermind in real estate is around 30,000. You're here live right now. There's no barriers to entry. So awesome. Okay. Bernie asks, would you recommend doing probates as a beginner wholesaler that has never made calls to even basic niches such as absentee vacant properties? Yes. So one of my biggest regrets when I started out wholesaling is I waited 10 years to do probates. I did them by accident. And how I found it, you guys probably heard the story. My accountant goes, you need to do more deals like this. So it doesn't matter. So if you're going to call on absentees and vacants, there's going to be probates built into them. So the question really here, Braden, is should you target probates? So what you'll probably do is you're a little bit uncomfortable having that conversation. I will tell you the conversation is no different. The only difference I've always taught in probates, and I have an old course out there, it's circulated. You guys can check it out. I don't even benefit from it because I sold the rights to it. My course was so good. Every major guru came to me and was like, we want to white label your course. And I said, absolutely, you can't do it. So I wound up selling it to a company, let them sell the rights, and told them they could never, ever change it. They would have to come to me to do it. So I don't sell products anymore. I I love teaching people, but my passion is doing real estate deals and connecting with people and working with my son. So talking to people in probates, it's just a softer conversation. So you have 2 ears, one mouth. That's all you have to remember in probates, and you'll do well. Listen to people's problems. Don't try to take it down in one shot. And it takes 5 to 6 contacts before you can even really connect with somebody in probate. But Brendan, you're on the right track. Just keep doing it. All right. Vexinator asks, can you explain the whole title company process? Really simple. A title company's job is there's supposed to be a neutral party. Doesn't always work out that way. And their job is to act as an intermediary between the buyer and seller to close the deal. So a title company, the word title is how they make a majority of their money is they sell insurance policies. I don't know if you guys know that. It's called title insurance. So what they do is once a property's under contract, they pull the title and they pull the chain history of title and make sure each property passed correctly with the correct deed. There's warranty deeds, there's special deeds, there's quick claim deeds, and sometimes people trade properties illegally. They don't do it correctly. Like for instance, in the state of Florida, if you're married, if your spouse does not sign the deed, it is not recognized in the state of Florida. So if somebody bought a property on a quick claim deed and the spouse didn't sign it, it's not legally recognized in the state of Florida, which means they can come back and sue you. So a title policy's purpose is to ensure if I pay $100,000 for a house and something was like fraudulent, like maybe the husband didn't sign or somebody forged it, is you now have the ability to make a claim on the insurance policy, the title insurance, and get back your $100,000. That's it. And so the higher the price gets, the more important the policy is because there's a risk there. Now, have I bought property without title insurance? Yes. 95% of people in America want a title insurance policy because they want to make sure they're protected and for obvious reasons. So they earn a fee off of that. So if so it just depends. Each state's regulated. So like a $200,000 policy in the state of Florida runs, I don't know, roughly, I want to say around $1,500 to $2,000, somewhere in there. There's an exact formula for it. So say they charge a $2,000 fee, $1,500 goes to the insurance company and they earn like a $500 premium. Also, what the title company is supposed to do is they're supposed to check the liens, they check the water. Sometimes they check, with the electric company, and they make sure everything's squared, everything's legal. They notarize the paperwork, and then they're going to charge a closing fee for using their office, using their staff, yada yada, and that's it. And if there's a mortgage, they help get all the documents executed and everything get funded. And it's just really that simple. Why are they a little bit more challenging? Wholesaling. Remember, wholesaling, we're not actually buying the property; we're just the middleman. So a lot of title companies, they get really pressed for that stuff. So a lot of times I'll buy a property on Monday and have it sold by Friday. Most title companies want 30 to 45 days to even close a regular file. So that's why you want to pay attention to title company. If you guys have any more questions, we can expand on that. So good question. All right. Alex asks, what's your process for determining repair costs? So I have the luxury of doing this 18 plus years. It's really easy for me. But remember, repair costs are dependent in what neighborhood you're in and your geographic area. So obviously, if you're in high-end homes, it's going to cost a lot more. If you're in lower-end homes, if you have like 2 2s in your neighborhood and most of them are 2 2s, once you do like one repair or someone else did it, you can get an idea of what it costs. The problem today is some of the numbers are it's much more expensive to repair. All this COVID stuff's come down with the lumber and the wood. So I would be very conservative in your numbers. What used to cost 10 grand can cost you 15 or 20 right now. So if you don't know how to do it, what I would do is I would find a contractor, somebody kind of walk you through and figure what the average cost. So in like my market, a 322 in, let's just take Port St. Lucie, the average kitchen would used to be 10 grand is no longer existing. So the average kitchen with appliances is around 20, sometimes 25 grand. A full master bathroom is 10 to 12 grand. A Smaller bathroom is usually 3 to 5. And then on the flooring, you can figure out square footage. And to paint the inside and the outside of like a 15 to 1700 square foot in my area, that's not completely trashed, is usually around 5, maybe 6K. And remember, it depends on which market and stuff. But after a while, once you get the numbers, you kind of know the cost and you can evaluate it. Obviously, the bigger the property, the more expensive. I don't like pools because they're nothing more than a liability than a nightmare. So hopefully that helps you out, Alex. Rashid asks, would you say SMS marketing is the best way to reach sellers right now? Yes and no. So I will tell you this. It's an incredibly scalable way to market people because I push one button. If you're a one-person operator, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I never had this luxury. Zach taught me when we were doing this business as we were coming along. The downside is it's probably going to be outlawed sooner than later. So if you want to use it, jump on it now and do it quickly. The companies are really cracking down on it because the users of these phones are all complaining that they're getting pounded. I have family members calling me on a weekly basis. They go, hey, are you having people call me? I'm not. You're just on a list. You're going to be pounded. And eventually they are going to make it like a do not call list like they do with cold calling. So use it while you can because it's probably going away. But it's extremely efficient. Think about it. And remember, the goal of text is you have to convert them and get them on the phone. You will never take a deal down just via text. I did it once. It was painful. So awesome. Okay. So Robert asked a really cool question here. How do you comp something that just doesn't have comps? If you're in this business long enough, you will find enough people. You just can't find a damn comp for the thing. So your worst case scenario, if there's no comps and say the house looks like a military bunker, really simple. Figure out what the thing will rent for, and you can do the math backwards. So say it rented, I'll give you a simple rule. Say it rented for $1,500 a month, okay? In my opinion, an acceptable value for even a landlord to buy would probably be around $150,000. And you can use that as a complete fail-safe because that $1,500 should cover the cash flow on $150,000 mortgage in theory. Hopefully that helps you out. Sometimes it just comes down to cash flow. So when you get apartment buildings and you get like duplexes, triplexes, stuff like that, a lot of times you shift over to cash flow. Every now and then we get a property. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry, I had to let the dog out of the studio. You get a property, it just doesn't work. So it doesn't mean you're not going to buy it? No, but just figure out what the cash flow on is it. So if it's getting $1,500 a month, you know, offer the guy 100, 125, your max would be like 150. But that's how I've done them. And you can start a conversation because you can't figure out what the comps is. But if you can make it cash flow, I promise you there's a buyer for it. So start with the cash flow one. So you always go with comps first, and then you look at the cash flow on it. But if you can't do comps, you can do cash flow. Okay. I'm going to keep moving here. I got lots of questions. So Victor asked, Vixenator, can you explain the whole title company process doing virtual? It's the same thing. You need to use a local title company in that town you're doing business and walk through the same process I mentioned earlier. Make sure they will work with you as an investor and they're very familiar with doing assignment of contracts. And on virtual, I would add another note. I would try to find someone that can do a virtual closing for you. So you can do notaries over the internet. I've done them. They're pretty wild. But I just did, I think, 3 closings virtually. So you can do them. So just make sure they can do some sort of mobile, not a mobile notary. You can do an online notary. A mobile notary is actually when they come to your house, your office. Look for someone that can do a virtual closing, and that's the only thing I would add to it. But they got to be local in your market. Good question. Okay, let's keep moving. I'm doing an order. Bonze asks, for a double closing, only a purchase agreement is necessary, right? One between the seller and me, one between me and the buyer. Yeah, I mean, it's so let's call it your A to B. A is the seller, B is you, the wholesaler, investor, whatever you call it. And then you have a separate contraction, which is B2C, is from the wholesaler to the end buyer. You're correct. The key ingredient on a double closing is they usually happen within a 24-hour period, maybe 36 hours. I've seen them go a little bit longer, but that's the key. So Bonsai, that's awesome. Why? So for those of you asking, well, why would you do a double closing? Sometimes you have to do a double closing to protect people from freaking out in closings. I'm all about full disclosure. If you guys hide the truth, they're going to look it up and see what you sold it for anyways. But in a perfect world, if you buy a house and you resell it, there's nobody can ever come back and question why you do it unless you did something ethical or like completely fraudulent. So you got it right, Bonsai. That's perfect. Okay. See, now I'm getting good questions here. What are you guys currently doing to get leads? So I've been doing this 18 years. I use every source out there. SMS. I don't do ringless voicemail anymore because I got sat down and I had to settle. So I don't do it anymore. In the state of Florida, it's basically outlawed. I do cold calling, but I call it warm calling. We used to call 20, 30,000 people a month. It's just not effective anymore. But what we do is we get offline lists, and actually we go old school. We have one person just goes rips and calls on them. Probate lists, code violation lists. There's only a couple hundred people on these lists, so you don't need this massive dialer. Texting's great. It's going away. Jump on it, get it done. It's probably the most scalable and the best thing if you can do it like a one-man army. I do heavy direct mail. It works very well. My ROI is through the roof on it. I've been doing that since I started, and I do a lot. We do a little bit of online, do some radio ads, and then guys, bird dogs. I love bird dogs. I love networking. I work with other investors too. So the sky's the limit. So my recommendation is find one channel that you love to do and master it, and then find something that complementary. If you hate cold calling people and you don't want to do it, don't do that because you're just going to torture yourself. So good question. Awesome. Okay, guys, I got like 10 minutes. Let's keep them coming here. We're going to go in speed round. So Eduardo, I only have a personal bank account open, ATM. I heard that once 10K or more gets deposited into an account, the Department of Treasury looks into you. Should this alarm me? All right, Eduardo, you are on the wholesaling channel, and we are talking about how to be wildly successful in wholesaling real estate. And I'm going to give you some rough news here. You are going to have more than 10 grand in your bank account when you're done working with me and Zach. This is how it works. I started and made my first 10K, and I've never looked back. So the only reason you get looked at if you take 10 or grand in or out of the country, you don't declare it. But that has nothing to do with wholesaling. So 10 grand would be the minimum I expect you to put in your bank account wholesaling. And that's when you're just getting started. So my goal, when you watch all my videos and go through my free training, everything we do, is to make your bank account look like a phone number. So I hope you have this problem, Eduardo. Tell the Treasury Department to call you. There's nothing illegal about putting 10 grand in there because you're just taking care of your family, your bills, and all the obligations you have in life. So you need money to do that. Why not do it through wholesaling? So, okay. What are the best skip tracers, and what do you recommend for mailers for someone who has a tight budget? So honestly, if you have a tight budget, you don't have to do direct mail, guys. Like I don't, honestly, direct mail is a different beast. It's a little bit slower. The reason I like direct mail, if you have a budget for it, is the phone calls come in and I control like how we deal with people. Yes, I pay somebody to answer the phones live because it's very effective and I'm in a highly competitive market. But I like the inbound calls. I've done the outbound on the cold calling and everything else, and it's more taxing to get the people. When a customer reaches out and contacts on a direct mail, we have a pretty good success rate in doing it. Cold calling and SMS, it's a much deeper process. You really have to work them to try to get them on the phone and get a deal done. So I like direct mail. The really cool thing about direct mail, like people complain, well, you know, it costs X amount of cents to do it. Listen, you can do postcards as low as 35, 36 cents. You have to do bigger bulk to do that. But so if you did 500 or 1,000 mailers and say it cost you, you know, 1,000, 1,500, and you get one deal and you make 30 grand, I promise you will look at direct mail completely different after that. So I don't recommend it for someone that has a tight budget or just getting started. I'd rather you cold call. Driving for dollars, guys. That's a huge one. We still do this day in our company, driving for dollars. It works well. As far as the skip tracers, let me see here. I got it. You can use that's it. We batch leads. You put in my son's name, Zach, in the code, and you get 50% off of it. That's who we use. But remember, find out what really resonates. If you hate cold calling, don't do it because you're going to be miserable. So if you're on a tight budget, by the way, a tight budget, I hand wrote all my letters and I hand addressed them, and I sent out thousands and I got deals. So I was the guy, one of the first guys to do handwritten letters and postcards. And then I created a system called handwritten postcard. I should probably just give it away free sometime. But I made it so wildly successful, everybody knocked me off and duplicated it. I had to stop using it, but still works. You guys can sit there and do that. Okay, speed round. I got 10 minutes left, like 7 minutes left. Good question, though. Again, we just answered this. We do texting. We do warm calling. I don't do massive cold calling because it's a real nightmare right now with the, it's just getting more and more expensive to do. So direct mail, door knocking, we'll do it on like a specialty list, mostly like a foreclosure list, but you got to be very, very careful in today's world, especially with like a lot of COVID stuff. We had to shut that down. Driving for dollars, still one of my favorite ones. And one of the old fashioned was we used the FedEx envelopes and we set them on like people's. I don't use FedEx anymore. I actually go out and buy my own. It's got an eagle on it, and we leave like an urgent message, and it works out really well. So good question. Well, I asked, looking at the purchase probate course here in Kansas City, I was able to view the probate, but now they have it marked closed once the case is closed. Can't be viewed even through Information Act. What now? So I'm not familiar, particularly in KC. So there's 3,500 plus counties. Every county does a little bit differently. So I would find out how you can get the records. Now here's, oh my gosh, what was it? Let me see here. I got this for you. You're going to love this. Hold on. Now we're still testing this all out. Go to listrei.com. What I would do in your town is use the pre-probate list. It works really well, guys. Like, honestly, this is, I hate the word game changer, completely abused, but this basically cross-references the death certificates to property that own property and gets you a list. It's not perfect, but in your case, it would be perfect. And honestly, if you already have a PropStream account, it doesn't cost any more. So look that up. I think you'll get a lot of value. As far as purchasing my probate, I don't really sell one anymore. So if you want, I will teach you as much as I can in these live streams. I do a lot of videos. I do little things on it. I love probates. It's just having a conversation and not being an idiot about it. And use your 2 ears more than your mouth, and you'll do much better with it. I had a course out there called PPS. If you Google it, you can look it up. I don't own the rights to it. I don't even sell it anymore, but it's still my exact content. So I think it's out there, but I don't really promote it. So it's up to you if you want to do that. So good stuff. Okay, 5 minutes, guys. Let's see here. Eric asked, if I have a house on reverse mortgage, $800K, the house is valued around 600 or 700. I've had removing government liens are possible. How does one do that? So I don't know what you mean about a government lien unless you're talking in regards to the mortgage. This one's tricky and challenging. And if you guys ever come across reverse mortgages, they're good for the person who has to take it. They're just bad for the family and the person who has to sell the property. Once the person passes away, the bank lets it ride for up to a year, and they just compound the interest and the penalties on it. And they get the debt on the house usually about the same value of the house. So most reverse mortgages will not have a lot of equity in it. And that's the frustrating part about it. And no, they will not negotiate with you. And especially in today's market, there's no chance of negotiating. So, and doing a creative financing deal, it's going to blow up on you because the debt's due in 1 year from the date the person dies on most reverse mortgages. So they're a little bit challenging. So I usually pass and just kind of move on. And I just try to give it to a realtor and list and try to share in some part of marketing fee via commission. So that's my recommendation to you. But hey, they come up. Awesome. Okay. Oh man, you guys. Okay. Get the last questions in, and I'm speed writing. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Guess, I mean, good questions, guys. So I'm here to help out. So I don't want to leave. Digital Mechanic says, thanks for everything. Let's see. Neil asks, can we send out mass text messages now that blasting needs to conform with the Trace Act? You can, but they just keep tightening the noose on it. It's just going to get tougher and tougher. So the problem is, like, every week, the data is changing as far as what you conform to, and it's eventually going to be to where it's just going to be such a pain in the butt. It's not worth doing. That's just my opinion. I said this 3 years ago. You bug people enough, they will outlaw you. Life Nina, what resources would you use for virtual wholesaling land with the least amount of money? Honestly, I would go to listrei.com. I would get an account. PropStream is the absolute best tool for you to research the right market to be into. So you got to find the market. What I always recommend people is go. So if I used to live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and now I moved to Florida, but maybe I grew up there, and I already kind of know the lay of the land and I understand it, and I would probably start there. I probably got friends, I got family that can help me out. That's the perfect virtual market. Past that, I want to find someone where prices are low, people are moving into. There's lots of Home Depots, Starbucks, Walmarts, and PropStream is one of the best tools you can use it. You can use the hot map on it. Go to listrei.com. You get a free 7-day trial version. You can actually test it out before you even pay for it, but it's a no-brainer. Like, PropStream is probably one of the most amazing pieces of software I've seen for the wholesaling business. It allows you to do comps. It allows you to pull probates, pre-probates. It allows you to research cash buyers in areas, and you get 10,000 leads per month in that. You can't beat that at ListSource or any of the other listing sources. That's how I'd start. Good question. Awesome. Okay. A quick question. How do you get around an agent asking for a proof of funds on a market property? You can't. So an agent's the gatekeeper, and if you piss them off enough, you're going to have no shot at it. So yeah, technically, we need a proof of funds because we're doing wholesaling. Honestly, guys, if you're dealing with an agent, your odds of wholesaling are probably very narrow unless you have a specific buyer in mind. So if you know something about the property and you have a great shot at the deal, I would find someone who has cash to help you pony up a proof of funds and just partner with them if that's good of a deal. But guys, don't try to cheat people and go around them. It will blow up on you in this business and nobody will want to do business with you. But I understand your intentions, Ellie, but I'm just telling you, agents are like the gatekeepers of a lot of properties, and you can't go around them. So either comply or just move on. Sometimes it's just not worth it with them. But if it's a really good deal, I'd find somebody with cash and offer them a finder's fee. I once got called to the table on an assignment agreement. The buyer showed up with an agent, which was next door neighbor, and she was super bitter. She couldn't list the property, and her whole job was to bust me. And she tried to say, listen, he's doing an assignment. He's doing this on you. I went out in the hallway. I literally walked down 3 doors down from somebody I did some work with before. I asked for a 1 hour loan. I paid $5,000 to fund so I could do a double closing because I was making a $50,000 profit. I was willing to give up $5,000 to make the deal work. So take that in consideration when you're doing it. So, okay, last question's in and I'm going to answer them. I'm cutting off the bell now. It's 6:09. If your question's in 6:09, I'll get it done. Okay. Okay, Neil, so thank you for the content. Awesome. What type of person would you say is easiest to target? I'm trying to get my first deal done. They're all correct. Everyone you put on there knows the default, probate, high equity. I like driving for dollars. You can collect them. High equity, absentee owners. Look at the vacant part in listrei.com. It works really well. The pre-probate sections, you're onto it. Like, just pick one and nail it, or do them all. Darkman, how do you feel about Facebook ads? Do you market that way? So I don't do it. It's just not overly effective in my market. If you want to do Facebook ads, I'll give you guys a free plug. Check out Chris Chico. He's a good friend of mine. He's here in South Florida, and he's invested a lot of time, energy, and money into it, and he knows what he's talking about it. So if you ever, now listen, he actually does it. So he does have a course, for full disclosure. I'm just telling you. The challenge with Facebook ads is it takes a long time to convert them. So I've done it with one of my real estate agencies, and the average conversion is 10 to 18 months. That's a lot of talking to people. So, and remember, they're not on Facebook targeting to sell their house. It just, oh, by the way, you know, if you want to sell your house, you get their ads. So, and everybody brags about how cheap the ads are. It doesn't matter. It's how many deals do you make profit of it. It's not the cost per lead. If you get 300 leads and they're $8 each, but you don't make a deal, then what's the point? You just spent all that money. So good question. Check out Chris Chico. It's a paid course, full disclosure. So I don't want you guys to pay for anything, but if you did, so Teres, working on a contract on a home sitting on 2 acres, how would you assess the value of land? Just look at the land around you, and if it's on half acre or an acre, just extrapolate out what the cost would be. And worst case scenario, reach out to realtors in your local area and see what some values are. Don't give them the specific address, and use Zillow. It's a great tool. So Ison says, how can I get on a call with you? So I'm not the technology expert. That's where Zach is, but we're going to make a bigger commitment to so I can be a little bit more involved in some of the live streams and answer like all your questions. Zach's really good at it, and I know you guys love him, and he's my son. He's a product of everything I've taught. So connect with Zach. He loves to do the call. I'm just not as quick at it, and I'm on a limited time, so I'm going to pass on it today. But I promise you, keep coming back to live stream and keep pounding me, and I promise you I'll put you on there, okay? But remember, when you get on a phone call with me or Zach, you've got to be productive to the point, and because everybody wants to learn, because we're all doing this for free and helping each other out. So if you guys can share this link and bring somebody that you think would get a value from this, guys, it's free. We're the only people on the internet teaching all this stuff for free. I don't care what other people say. I've been doing this 18 years. I'm trying to build the biggest, baddest wholesaling community on this planet, and you guys can help me out do it. So, okay, I'm ripping through them now. AD, what kind of budget do I need to text blast for 10,000 properties? Just do the math on it. It's so just check out batch leads. What's the cost going to do you? Use listrei.com to pull the list, and it's just a math problem. Do it on an Excel spreadsheet. Figure out what your cost for skip tracing, the cost of your leads. You're better off having a subscription through ListREI, and then just do the budget, and then you just reverse engineer what you can do. I used to do budgeting on $200 and $300 a month when I was broke. You can do the same. You just keep adding zeros to it eventually when you get good at it. Okay. How do you avoid calling and texting the same person when you have a list that you are cold calling and texting? Guys, you can use Excel, and you can use filters on it. If you're not comfortable doing it, hire somebody on either Upwork or Fiverr. These guys are really good at this. They use pivot tables. It can get really complicated. I don't like to overcomplicate this business. You just got to find a way to organize the stuff, because the worst thing to do is paying for something twice or calling the same person over and over when they've already told you to take them off your list. It's just a huge waste of time and money. So, Bryson, what list would you say would be the most efficient in a saturated market? Atlanta, any type of offline list you can get: code violations, tax delinquencies, any type of water shut off, any type of private list. Go get a driving for dollars and collect that. Go try to work with bird dogs. You want to talk about saturated markets. When I read old books like this, they're complaining about the prices of houses in 1972. It gets me excited because we're all complaining it's saturated. Everything's expensive. Guys, things are going to change. I'm telling you, I've been through 2 market cycles. They change pretty quickly. So if you're complaining about the cost of real estate in 2021, what are you going to do in 2030? Especially Lucan at 15. So hopefully that helps you. Okay, we're down to the last few here. Let's see here. Lucan, how do we use the money from the title company? Can we get a check instead of a direct deposit? Yes. I'm doing wholesaling in a different state. Can they mail the money to you in another state? Yes. The simplest way, Load, you can get a wire right into your bank account. They charge you like $15. Well worth it. If it closes at noon by 2 o'clock, you have a direct wire into your bank account. There's no holds. There's no waiting. Remember, if you get a check and you guys are just starting out and you're on a budget, say you get a $10,000 or $20,000 flip and you got a new bank account, they'll hold it 7 to 10 days. Go get a wire. It costs you $15 and it's available instantly. So I think Luke is going to be getting a lot of those checks. What do you guys think? Bryce asks, how do I find a probate online? Find out if your county has them online. So you can call your local court, ask for the probate division and ask, or just go by and visit them, be a super nice guy and talk to them. They'll tell you. So you either physically pull them at the courthouse or you get them online. More and more courts are going to online. The problem is some of them are limiting the view. Now, if they charge you with like $100 for a business access to it, just pay it. It's well worth it. Let's save you the gas on it. Okay. Probably ask, where is Zach? So Zach was here earlier and Dad's here now. So I'm Rick, Flip with Rick, and I taught Zach at 17 how to do this business. So we work together. We run multiple businesses together, all in real estate. And here's the key is, we don't do a coaching business. We do this for free. So you get Zach, which I know connects with a lot of you. And Zach is basically a mini version of me. I love my kids to death. I have a daughter as well, and she's in the medical field, and she's amazing too. She just doesn't want to do real estate. So Zach loves it. He shares my enthusiasm, my passion for it. And so trust me, Zach will be here. He ain't going anywhere. So awesome, guys. I think I'm going to wrap this up. This is funny, some of these questions. So guys, we do lots of live. So the more interactive you are, the more you're going to get from it. You guys just got a mastermind that I have no problem charging people 5 or 10 grand just to sit down with them, talk to them. Guys, take advantage of this. Do me a favor, share, subscribe this group. Let people know what we do. And God, guys. So go out and take action. Stop complaining about how expensive real estate is or how saturated it is. And if you get a chance, go to some garage sales and always try to buy the real estate at the garage sale. That's a little key. And actually, I'm going to share a video with you on how to harvest garage sales in your local market. I actually did this technique for a ton of time. I haven't done it in a while, and I'm actually getting ready to research it again. But like this book, 1972, they're complaining about how hard it is in 1972 to do it. And what are we all doing? We're all kind of like, oh my God, it's saturated, expensive. Guys, it's never, this is always here. People say the same thing about stock, same thing. So here's the key is, if you want to be wildly successful and win at the game of wholesaling, you have to get started, take action, and be willing to be uncomfortable. If you guys will do that, you will have amazing success. I really appreciate everybody on this stream. Do me a favor, subscribe, share, like it, and tune in and ask questions. I appreciate everybody asking questions. Kudos to Lucan at 15 started. That's amazing. So you're way up on Zach, and I can't wait to see your progress on it. To me, I do real estate so I can spend more time with my family. So I have my dream. I have my dream house, my dream wife. I have my dream family, my kids, and my son works in my business. I couldn't ask for anything more. And I want you guys to benefit from all the greatness of wholesaling. Guys, this is Rick with Flip with Rick, AKA Dad. I promise you, Zach's still here. We're just trying to do more interaction to give you different sides of the business and show you everything we can do. And I appreciate it. So guys, Zach will be on, he'll be on the next live stream. He posts everything. And he says, hey, you know, be here, Dad, do this. And I love working with him. So that's it, guys. I'll see you in the next live stream. Put your comments, your suggestions in there, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.